Alright, so for our last reaction video of the class, we had to watch the video, The New Age of Corporate Monopolies, which was by Marguerite Vestager. I probably killed her name, but it's okay. In this video, she talks about how she wants to keep the European markets competitive. Something that she talked about was like how on the very first day in 1957, the European Union ruled to defend fair competition. And this means that the competition on the merit that you compete on, like, you would compete on the quality of the product, and you would compete on the prices you offer and the services you offer and the deals that you can give people and the innovation that you produce, like coming out with the next best thing. And you have a fair chance on making it in the market. Another thing that she talked about was she asked the question, why do we need rules on competition at all? Why not just let businesses compete? She said, like, isn't that also the best for us if they compete freely, since more competition drives more quality, lower prices, and more innovation? But the speaker also talks about how their problem is that sometimes for businesses, competition can be an inconvenience, because competition means that the race is never over and that the game is never won. Another thing that she said was, no matter how well you were doing in the past, there's always someone who is out there wanting to take your place. And I feel like that's such a true statement. Like, there's always somebody who wants to be better than you, to compete with you. You're never not gonna have competition, and that's in like a lot of aspects of life. She also said that so the temptation to avoid competition is powerful, and how it's rooted in motives as in Adam and Eve. And she also talked about like the greed of money and the fear of losing your position in the market, because once you're in one of the high spots, you don't want to give up your power, and how like the fear of that power and greed is linked to like power in general. And she also said how it can be a dangerous mix. Another thing that she brought up was that we see it in politics. You mix greed and fear, and you give power to people, and these people are reluctant to give it back. Let's see. She also talked about how it's not only in the like companies that undermine fair competition, government can do it too. And she explains that the government can do it when they hand out subsidies, and they do it when like they are financed by the taxpayers. She also explains how the market is not the society. Our society is much more than the market, and due to the lack of trust in the market, it can rub off on the society, which can cause us to like lose trust in our society as well. And it may be like one of the important things that we have is trust. If we all have the same chances, we will all have to follow the same fundamentals and the same rules. But some people and some businesses are more successful than others, and we don't trust in the society if the prizes are handed out even before the contest begins. That is another thing that she said. Like, I think that is something that is important, and it is important because when we make sure that the market is working fairly, then the businesses are able to compete and help build the trust that we need for the citizens to feel comfortable and in control, and it allows our society to work hard, because without trust we're not anything. And I think she really emphasizes the fact that without trust everything becomes harder, and we don't need it to be any harder. Another thing that she talks about is that together with regulation, we can do this. Technology is another aspect of it, and they can help us make sure that the technology treats people fairly, and that everyone can compete on a level playing field, and that can help us build the trust that we need for real innovation and to flourish, and for the societies to develop for the citizens. Because she said before, without trust things are harder, and because trust cannot be imposed, it has to be earned. Trust has to be earned back. It's not just something that's there, it has to be proven by actions. I think that this is important for me, going to the business world, because this is something that we have to think about. Competition is a real thing, and the market of not just how the market is not the society, and how it's much more than the society, is important to know, and it's important to have that trust factor in there. But I think overall a lot was learned from this video, and I'm glad that we had to watch it, because I feel like I wasn't as knowledgeable about this topic before we before we had this, because I didn't realize how important the competition was, and the monopolies and the temptation, and how it really did root from Adam and Eve and the greed, and it is bigger than just what we think. There's underlying factors to all of it, and there's more to it than what we see. So yeah,